Hi, fourth grade. So this is absolutely not how I wanted to continue our read aloud together, but I did want to read a few chapters before we go away on break. So I'll read a couple chapters for today and then some more for tomorrow. So that way you can stay up to date in the book that we're reading. There's messages on the Google Classroom. I don't know if you'll watch this before I meet, but I would like to do a Google Meet at 10 o'clock, both on Monday and on Tuesday. Monday is mandatory. At 10 o'clock, we will be going over the end of our multiplication unit. I just think it will be easier if we can do it together than me pushing out a video. And then on Tuesday, we'll do some fun Christmas activities together. So it's not mandatory, but I'm hoping you'll all want to join me so that way we can have some fun together before we are apart during our Christmas break. So I'm going to read the next two chapters in The Young Man in the Sea by Rodman Philbrick. And remember, we left off where Skiff had been doing pretty well with his traps, right? He had got all 200 of them set, and he was pulling in some lobsters. He had saved up about $900, which is pretty good. He needs to get to 5,000, but hey, $900 in a few weeks is pretty good. He's feeling like he's got a routine, and he's pretty proud of himself. But remember, at the end of the last chapter, it said things were going real good. So naturally, that's when the crud hits the fan. Miserable, rotten crud by the name of Tyler Croft. So remember, that nasty Tyler Croft is going to be at it again. So chapter 11, Trap Wars. One day I'm leaving Murphy's loaded up with bait and a couple of traps that need new heads. Heads are the little nets that the lobsters crawl through in order to get into the trap. Anyhow, I'm feeling real good about things and minding my own business, and that's when I notice Fin Chaser tied up to the town wharf. Beautiful boat. Finest kind of tuna boat. 40-foot hull with a high tower on top for spotting fish and a bow pulpit near as long as the boat. The ideal is the long pulpit puts the harpooner right over the fish so that he can strike down at them before they feel the boat. I never been out on Fin Chaser, but I know all about it because my dad used to be the best harpooner on the crew. Come August, he'd lay up the Mary Rose and made on Fin Chaser for a month or so. Fished the boat from Provincetown to Bar Harbor, chasing the big tuna. Sometimes he made more money in that 1 month than all year lobstering. One summer, my dad harpooned 18 tuna, twice as many as the next best man in Spiny Cove. That's the year he got his new Ford pickup and Mom got her new kitchen. He and the Fin Chaser owner were really tight until Mom got sick and Dad quit working. Then the Fin Chaser guy said something to my dad about him drinking too much, or maybe they argued about money. I'm not really sure. And my dad said something back, and they ain't spoke since. The problem is, the guy who owns Fin Chaser and used to be my dad's best friend, well, he's also Tyler Croft's father. And there's Tyler on his father's boat, loading the long harpoons aboard and acting wicked cool while his dad, Jack Croft, dumps buckets of ice in the ice hold, getting the boat ready. Last thing in the world I want is Tyler to notice me, but he does. He gives me a big sneery smile, points at my little skiff, and holds his nose. I ain't close enough to hear, but his father says something sharp, something that wipes the sneer clean off of Tyler's face. And then Jack Croft himself looks at me, short, strong-looking guy with a long-billed cap and his eyes all squinty from looking for tuna. He studies me and he don't say nothing, he just gives me a little nod like they do. Then he's talking to Tyler and pointing at me like he's saying something about me. And Tyler, he sneaks me a look that says, "Just you wait, lobster boy. Just you wait." I don't have to wait long. The next day I'm out by Little Sister Rock, just outside the cove. I got a dozen traps set in close to the rock where the lobsters like to hide. It's one of those perfect summer mornings, water like rippled glass with just a few soft clouds in the sky, and everything is sparkling. The way the sun comes off the water, it's hard to see at first. But I get in as close to the rock as I dare, with the sea slurping over the top and the seaweed floating like a woman's hair, and I pull up the first trap. Empty. No lobsters, no crabs, no bait left in the kitchen. Nothing. Most traps have at least a crab or two, but it happens. I put the bait bag in the kitchen, drop it back down, and then I grab the next buoy. I pull on the line until I feel the trap lift off the bottom, wrapping the line around a cleat as I go so I don't lose it. I get the next trap up to the side, grab the end, haul it over the side. Empty. Same thing as the first. No lobster, no crab. And this time I see where the bait bag has been cut loose by something sharp enough to cut the head net. Could be a lobster claw, but where's the lobster? Did they get smart all of a sudden and figure out a way to back out of the trap? Well, that don't seem likely. I got a sick feeling in my stomach that it's something else. Pull the third trap. Empty. Same as the first two. Pull the fourth. Pull the fifth. Pull the sixth. Empty, empty, empty. I take a break. My arms are aching. The sun is drilling a hole in my head, and then haul another 6 traps, inch by inch, foot by foot, all empty. Bait bags are cut. It hits me like a bad clam for breakfast. Somebody's been stealing my lobster. Worse, they're cutting out the bait bags so the traps won't attract any more lobsters to replace the ones that they stole. Whoever did this wants me to know. Only one name comes to mind would do a thing like that. Tyler Croft. He must have snuck out here and emptied out my traps, letting me know he's better than me. Of course he knows I can't prove he done it. Could have been anybody, but it wasn't. I know that like I know the smell of a rotting fish. That makes my whole face hot. But it gets worse. On the way back, I stop in to check on another spot on the inside bend of the channel where the bottom is rocky. There's not a buoy of mine in sight. So the buoy is what bobs along the top of the water so you know where your trap is, and it's attached to the rope so you can pull on it, and then that way you have an idea where it is. The buoy gets cut, the trap stays on the bottom, and you don't know where they are. You can't get it. 10 more traps. Clean gone. Either stolen or the buoys are cut, which amounts to the same thing. Now it feels like my head is going to explode. The only thing I can think of is open up the throttle and head over to the town wharf looking for Fin Chaser. But the big bone ain't there. Must be out chasing tuna. I'm so miserable, mad, it hurts, and there ain't nobody to hit or to cuss at, so all I can do is go home and mope around, thinking of things that I'd like to do to Tyler Croft. Tie a stupid mountain bike around his neck and throw it in the harbor, and that's just for starters. Later on, I'm banging cupboards and stuff, feeling sorry for myself when Dad wakes up on the couch. What's wrong, Skiffy? Nothing. Must be something. Why do you care? Go on back to sleep, watch your TV shows, drink your beer. I say that and a whole lot more, mean as a snake to my own father. Worst thing is, he don't say nothing back. No way I can sleep, not with Tyler out there stealing lobster and cutting buoys. I gotta do something, but I don't know what. Find a way to stop him before he puts me out of business. Just hating the miserable little twerp ain't enough. I've been racking brains and nothing comes to mind. Call him names? He don't care. Throw rocks at his head? He'd just throw him back and plenty would pitch in to help. Call his father? I know, Tyler. He just lie to his dad and keep on with what he's doing. Report him to the Fish and Game? I ain't got proof. Tell my dad? Don't make me laugh. If he wouldn't get off the couch when the boat sank, he ain't going to move his butt over a few traps. What it comes down to is this. It's up to me. That's why when midnight comes, I sneak out of the house, get in my skiff, untie the lines, and drift down the creek, quiet as the night. Watch out, rich boy, lobster boy is coming to get ya. Chapter 12, Rich Boy in the Dark of the Night. The thing about drifting the creek at night is how it makes you feel invisible. Like you can watch the darkness of the world go by, but nothing can see you. You can see all the tall pines standing like an army of zombies along the shore, with stars for eyes and wind moving their ragged arms, but they can't find you. Nothing can. It's like being asleep but watching yourself inside the dream, drifting on the creek, letting the tide pull you around each bend, letting the current carry you along but keeping you always safe, always moving, until you wake up and remember that you've always been afraid of has already come true. Like what happened to Mom and the Mary Rose sinking. It makes you never want to wake up, but in the end you got no choice. That's the way it works in this world. You got to wake up or disappear. And I ain't about to disappear. Not without a fight. I can't know what buoys he'll cut next. All I can do is try and guard what's mine. I figure a sneak like Tyler will take the easy way and hit the traps closest to home. The Croft house is way out on the east end of Spiny Cove with all the other big houses. Places where they got electronic gates and garages big enough for 6 cars and more rooms than people to live in them. Rich people houses. Houses so important that they got names like Windswept and the Beach Rose and Seaview. Rich guys like Tyler's dad, they don't fish for money. They fish for the fun of it. And because it gives them an excuse to own a big expensive boat and wear a long-billed fisherman's cap. Nothing wrong with that. You can bet I'd have a wicked big boat if I were rich, and a new hat too. But it gets my goat when rich people steal from me. And that's what cutting traps is. Plain and simple. Stealing. Sticks in my craw like a rusty hook, knowing how little it means to a rich creep like Tyler Croft that he can ruin my life anytime he feels like it. There's no moon in the sky, but the stars make enough light to see by, just barely. Enough so I can find my way weaving through the boats moored in the harbor. Shadows of boats is more like it, looming things that move with the current, swinging all together like a flock of ducks set down on a pond, beaks to the wind. Sound of my outboard echoes off the hulls, so loud it seems the whole world must know where I am. But they don't. It's just another sound in the night, a small boat going by. No big deal. Just beyond the harbor, striped bass are feeding on bait fish in the shallows, making a noise my dad used to call fish grenades. Kind of hard, wet smack. Big fish eating little fish. You can tell by the way they hit sometimes that the little fish gets away. I like it when that happens. I'm easing in along the shore about 100 yards from the Crofts' big floating dock when a boat pulls away from the dock. I quickly shut off my motor and lie down in my little skiff as it goes by. When I peep over the side, there he is. Tyler Croft taking off in Boy Toy, his own personal Boston whaler. Brand new 4-stroke outboard, runs so quiet, all you can hear is the slap of the water on the hull. Perfect for sneaking around at night. Doesn't have his running lights on, so I know he's up to no good. Trouble is, he's going so fast. He's almost out of sight before I can get my little 5-horse motor started. All I can do is follow along in his wake, but that's enough to get a pretty good idea of where he's going. The curve inside the jetty where I set a dozen traps. If he's really there cutting my buoys, I'll have to sneak up on him. Otherwise, he'll just take off and I'll never catch him. Once I get to where the jetty starts, I turn off the motor and I get out the oars and I row up close to the jetty and then follow it along. Jetty's like this big arm made of rocks that points out into the harbor and protects it from waves whenever there's a storm. Right now it's hiding me in the shadows as I row along, being careful as I dip the oars. Splash might give me away. As I row, I'm looking over my shoulder, wishing I could see in the dark like a cat or something. I do see something out there, but what is it? It could be just a boat anchored on its mooring farther away than I think. Distance is hard to judge at night on the water, and with only the light of the stars to guide you. But then something moves on the boat, and I know. A person standing up, then leaning over the side of the boat, then standing up again. Can't quite make it out, but it's gotta be Tyler grabbing my buoys in the water and cutting the line, then moving along to the next buoy. Must be it's too much work to actually haul up the trap and steal the lobster. Easier just to cut the buoy. I keep rowing until I get opposite the dark boat, and then I take hold of the starter cord and I pull, praying my outboard motor will fire up on the first go. And it does. I got no plan in mind except how mad I am. So I twist the throttle and head for the dark boat as fast as my little skiff will go. I see him drop a buoy, and then my boat goes wham! Right into the side of the whaler, and he falls down inside of his boat, cursing and hollering madder than a bee in a jar. Knocked me down too, but I don't care. I'm glad I hit him, even if it probably did more damage to my boat than to his. Tyler Croft, you're a thief! I hope you die, you miserable piece of crud! Tyler's head pokes up over the side, and I can see him clear as day. He's smiling. Well, look who I bumped into, he says. I bumped into you! Whatever. You owe me $500, I go, making up a number. Pay up or else. Or else what? You'll get arrested. You'll go to jail. You're cracked, lobster boy. Why would I go to jail? He's having fun now, teasing me. You stole my lobsters and cut my buoys. Yeah? Prove it. I saw you with my own eyes. You didn't see anything. It's too dark. Nobody will believe anything you say. You're just a lying swamper, and everybody knows it. The thing that makes me maddest of all, that makes me feel like I swallowed a frog, is how right he is. It's just my word against his. Lobster boy versus rich boy. You know who wins that fight? I ain't got money for lawyers, and he does. Or anyhow, his father does. No way I can win against him. Our boats have started to drift apart and my motor has stalled, so I get out the oars and I try to close the distance. He sits there waiting like he's got nothing better to do than to remind me that I can't hurt him, but he can hurt me. Why'd you do it, Tyler? Do what, Swamp Thing? Mess with your stupid traps? Yes. Come a little closer, and I'll tell you. That makes me stop where I am, backing water. Tyler stands up, swinging a boat hook. I duck, and I feel the whoosh over my head. You're a loser, lobster boy. Get used to losing. Then he fires up his big outboard and zooms away, rich boy in the dark of the night, laughing and hooting my name. Skippy! Skippy! My motor won't start. I'd like to unhook the rotten old motor and drop it in the water, but I don't. Instead, I row all the way home. It takes me the rest of the night. Night ain't half so dark as what's inside my brain. Poor Skiff. He's getting so many things that are troubling him, and so many things that, I mean, he was just starting to feel really good, and he was making money, and he was feeling stronger, and he was doing a great job, and then Tyler Croft has to come and ruin things. He has to come and just pick on him just because he can, which is not a very nice thing to do. So I hope you're enjoying our book. I will read 2 more chapters tomorrow, and then we'll finish it when we come back from Christmas break. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow during our Google Meet, and I miss you, and this stinks, but we'll make the best of it. We'll do what we can. All right, I love you guys.